The Wall Street firms that kept ties with Jeffrey Epstein until the end? From TD Bank to Honeycomb Partners, several hedge funds and banks were linked to the wealthy sex offender. Jeffrey Epstein, during 2004, held accounts at more than 20 different banks. By Khadija Safter? Updated October 1, 2025, 10:17 a.m. Jeffrey Epstein never got kicked out of Wall Street's VIP club. Epstein's banking and investment activities in the years before his 2019 death were more widespread than previously known, including accounts at several banks as well as large transactions with well-known hedge funds, according to documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal and people familiar with the matter. Epstein's estate has turned over to Congress a list of more than 20 banks that held accounts for Epstein and entities related to him, according to people familiar with the matter. The House Oversight Committee is expected to subpoena banks for their records, some of the people said. Epstein or Epstein-related entities had accounts with several of those banks in his later years, including Wells Fargo, TD Bank, and First Bank Puerto Rico, according to those people. J.P. Morgan Chase has said it closed Epstein's accounts in 2013, and Deutsche Bank said it cut him off in 2018. To date, J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank are the only banks that have been scrutinized by regulators and sued by victims over their ties to Epstein. The documents reviewed by the Journal show that in the years before he died, Epstein moved at least $60 million into Honeycomb Partners, an investment fund, received $13.5 million from a hedge fund run by Paul Tudor Jones, and sold $15 million worth of private company shares to crypto investor Blockchain Capital. Epstein pleaded guilty in 2008 in Florida to charges of solicitation of prostitution and procurement of minors to engage in prostitution, under a deal with prosecutors. His activities set off compliance concerns at J.P. Morgan, but he remained a prized client until 2013. Then he moved many of his accounts to Deutsche Bank. J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank have said they regret their relationships with Epstein and have settled civil lawsuits brought by Epstein victims, without admitting wrongdoing. Epstein had bank accounts associated with a complex web of entities that he used for his personal and business activities, including sending payments to women, managing his real estate, and running his financial advisory business. A spokesman for TD Bank said accounts held by Epstein's lawyer and accountant were closed and relationships terminated in 2019. A spokesman for First Bank Puerto Rico said Epstein was a legacy relationship that was acquired when the bank purchased Chase banking operations in the U.S. Virgin Islands in 2002. A spokesman for Wells Fargo declined to comment. Having a sex crime conviction alone wouldn't necessarily disqualify someone from a banking service. Banks use many factors to evaluate the legal and reputational risk of retaining clients and are required to monitor suspicious activity, such as frequent cash withdrawals. Hedge funds and VC firms face much lighter regulation than banks and don't typically have access to transaction activity. The documents reviewed by the Journal show that Epstein transferred at least $60 million to Honeycomb Partners between 2016 and 2019, including $20 million in March 2019. The firm is run by David Fissel, who was a star portfolio manager at Steve Cohen's Point72 hedge fund before he left in 2015. Fissel recently told clients that he was returning their money, saying he saw fewer investment opportunities. 6 years ago, Honeycomb notified U.S. authorities that trusts affiliated with had invested in the fund, immediately instructed their redemption, and kept the government informed so the assets could be seized for the benefit of victims, said Reed Brodsky, a lawyer for Honeycomb. No one at Honeycomb ever had any personal or professional relationship with him. A spokesman for Tudor Investment said one of Epstein's entities invested in its Tudor Futures fund in 2001 and redeemed its investment in 2014. He said Jones, the billionaire investor, and senior Tudor personnel didn't know Epstein personally and didn't have any direct communications or other business with him. Blockchain was co-founded in 2013 by Brock Pierce, a serial entrepreneur and chair of the Bitcoin Foundation, to invest in startups or crypto tokens. A spokesman for Blockchain said 3 of its funds purchased stakes in private companies from Epstein in 2018, but he wasn't an investor in its funds. Pierce said he left the firm in 2017. The documents also show Epstein transferred about $38 million into Boothbay funds between 2014 and 2017 and received about $10 million in January 2017 from one of them. Boothbay was founded in 2011 and is run by investor Ari Glass. A spokesman for Boothbay said the fund had no relationship with Epstein beyond his limited partner interest, and upon his 2019 arrest subjected him to a compulsory redemption. The documents also confirm some of Epstein's transactions that have been previously reported with well-known associates, including tens of millions of dollars in transfers from private equity billionaire Leon Black, one of Epstein's financial clients. More than $20 million that Epstein invested in Vala Ventures, a VC firm anchored by tech billionaire Peter Thiel, and $25 million that Epstein received from the Rothschild banking family. Vala met Epstein just once, in 2014, at a time when he was a well-known advisor to world leaders, top universities, and philanthropic organizations, a spokesman said. Vala hopes that the eventual distribution of these investments can be put to positive use by helping victims move forward with their lives. The New York Times previously reported on Epstein's investment in Vala. Black has said he paid Epstein for estate planning and tax advice, and in 2021, a law firm hired by the Apollo Global Management Board found Black paid Epstein $158 million for work performed from 2012 to 2017. The Journal previously reported that Ariane de Rothschild negotiated a $25 million consulting contract with Epstein in 2015 to provide services to the bank. Spokespeople for Black and Rothschild declined to comment. The documents also reveal some payments to known Epstein associates that haven't previously been reported. Epstein paid the former MIT Media Lab director about $1 million in 2014 and 2015 and received nearly $500,000 from him in 2015, the documents show. In April 2015, Epstein also sent $1 million to Neoteny 3, an investment fund Ito created that year. Ito resigned from his MIT role in 2019, apologized for his association with Epstein, and said he would return money Epstein invested in his fund. Ito didn't respond to requests for comment. Epstein transferred $250,000 to the Norwegian diplomat in December 2015, the documents show. Rod Larson resigned in 2020 from the International Peace Institute after he acknowledged he had received a $130,000 personal loan from Epstein in 2013. A lawyer for Rod Larson said he had no comment. On March 21, 2016, Epstein paid $85,000 to Alan Dershowitz Consulting. The attorney said it was an overdue payment from representing Epstein in the 2000s during his plea negotiations. He thought it was a terrible deal and he fired me, the lawyer said. From 2003 to 2013, Epstein paid 46 law firms and litigation-related entities, and among those the top paid was Dershowitz, who received $4 million during that period, court documents show. Dershowitz said that he collected an hourly fee for his work on the 2008 plea deal, and that he was Epstein's longest-serving lawyer on the matter. He said he used the sum, in part, to pay lawyers, researchers, travel, and other expenses over 4 years. I think I made about $3 million myself, he said. Businessman paid Epstein $6,200, the documents show, and a day later, Epstein paid bin Sulayem the same amount. The longtime chief executive of DP World, a ports operator, was scheduled to visit Epstein's townhouse between 2011 and 2014, the Journal previously reported. Bin Sulayem and his spokesman didn't respond to requests for comment. November 2014, Epstein paid $1,232.25 to L.H. Summers Economic Consulting. A spokeswoman for Summers said the payment was a travel reimbursement for a group meeting in New York City. The former Treasury Secretary, who had more than a dozen meetings scheduled with Epstein from 2013 through 2016, said in 2023 that he deeply regrets his contact with Epstein after his conviction. Write to Khadija Safter at khadija.safter@wsj.com.